London Mayor, you're a disgrace. You're disgusting. You do not deserve to be in that position. Not when the welfare, the well-being, the dignity, the integrity, the safety and the innocence of children in the capital city is at stake. You are the most deplorable, despicable, horrible human being to answer that question like that.
I just wanted to bring you this because it's sort of gone a little bit viral. But it's well worth a watch if you've not seen it. It's a response to Sadiq Khan in a recent London Assembly meeting, and it's from Alex Phillips, and I think it's well worth a watch because I think she has really encapsulated what we all feel about Sadiq Khan. She's very upset about this because she gets affected by this problem herself living in London, and she really sort of lost it, but in a measured way, and I think it's worth seeing what she said because I think it's quite important. I think London is in a terrible state at the moment, and Mr. Khan doesn't seem to be interested in whatever's happening in London. Really, he's not doing anything to sort out, the knife crime problems and things. And this was something basically to do with grooming gangs and a question about whether there was any grooming gangs operating in London, whether it was a major problem or not a problem at all. It was a fair question. We've had some whistleblowers recently from certain organisations working in London that have said that it's a terrible problem, worse than anywhere in the country. So Susan Hall decided to ask the question of Sadiq Khan, and his reaction was typical Sadiq Khan, really, very evasive and very sarcastic, and obviously was trying to goad her into saying something, which you'll see when you watch the video what I mean. So without further ado, we're going to get straight into the video. It's well worth watching. Here we go.
I think that was a question well worth asking, which is a question that the leader of the Conservative group in the London Assembly, Susan Hall, put to the Mayor, Sadiq Khan, who also happens to be the Police and Crime Commissioner. Now just watch his response. It will make your blood boil.
I asked you this question last week and you found every which way but not to answer it. Just how many grooming gangs have we got in London?
To avoid any misunderstanding, can she define what she means by that?
Yes, if you look at what's gone on in Rotherham, where there are people taking young girls, grooming them for sex, that is what I'm talking about.
We know in London there are issues about exploitation of young people, but they're not as defined by the member in her definition of what those types of gangs are.
So are you saying we haven't got the same sort of gangs that are in Rotherham, Bradford and lots of other places in the country?
Just for your misunderstanding, what does she mean by that?
You know full well what I mean by that. It's all over the television. You know exactly what I mean by that. These gangs of people that are grooming young girls for sex. Do we actually have those in London?
I'm unclear, Chair, what is meant by the question. If you could spell it out, I can answer.
I've just spelt it out. Are you not listening? It's the sort of gangs that groom young girls at a young age for sex. Exactly how much clearer do you want me to be?
That makes me so livid I could cry. That disgusting human being who happens to be the Mayor of London, who also happens to hold the title of the Police and Crime Commissioner as part of that role, that responsibility, obfuscating, gaslighting, bullying, belittling. These are little girls, underage minors, being raped by gangs in our capital city. You do not play games over this. If this was anybody else in any other position of authority, that clip alone should have seen his head roll. London Mayor, you're a disgrace. You're disgusting. You do not deserve to be in that position. Not when the welfare, the well-being, the dignity, the integrity, the safety and the innocence of children in the capital city is at stake. You are the most deplorable, despicable, horrible human being to answer that question like that. Now you get back in that seat, you answer the question properly, you get the stats, you hold the police to account. That is what you're supposed to be doing. That is what I'm paying you to do. As someone who pays taxes, living in London, I should expect no less. The country should expect no less. You disgust me.
So there we go. I think you agree she was in her rights to react like that. I think Susan Hall was asking a fair question, and obviously Sadiq Khan was trying to push her to say Pakistani. It's pretty obvious, we've seen the sort of the demographic that is involved with this type of grooming, and we all know that. And he was trying to get her to say it, it was pretty, just playing political games like that, just on something as important as that, obviously doesn't care about the little girls that are being, assaulted. It's just all about politics and playing political games and point scoring. And of course he was trying to get her to say that so he could then play the race card as usual. Alex Phillips' reaction to that was, you could see that was the passion in her voice. She's living in London, and so she's got quite a few friends in London, and they are on a different scale, but in a different type of problem. They are suffering as well. She feels like she can't walk anywhere without being not assaulted, but be followed, being people sort of rubbing up against her and things like that. Just general sort of things like that. And they're not generally people from the UK, and so she feels like she is under siege in London, and nobody seems to care about it. She's had quite a number of incidents because she's white, she's got blonde hair, and she attracts probably the wrong type of attention, but why should she have to worry about that? She shouldn't have to worry about that. It's just certain people from certain demographics that have come into this country that don't treat women in a certain way. They don't treat women in a respectful way, and so I think she just had enough. And I think we're sick of seeing incidents like that with Khan, talking like that and talking down to the women in the London Assembly really badly. He just really talks down to women. He's so clever with them all the time, and trying to, one-upmanship, and just never answers a question, and he's just disgusting, and she is right to say what she said, and well done, Alex, for that. It needed saying. Hopefully he gets to see it. That was it, really. I thought it was a really interesting video, and she's really put her head above the parapet a little bit there by going off on that. But I think it deserved it. So I don't know what you think. Tell me what you think. If you think she was right or wrong, and if you think there's no problem at all and everything's rosy in London, then please put a comment in the comments below, and let's have a discussion about it. Tell me what you think. I'd love to know what you think. I just like to put things out there and see what people feel, see what the country feels like. It's just interesting to find out people's opinions. Thank you again for joining us, and I will see you on the next video.